Manever I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there, osia dem yopo.
These were the specific reasons why the Archbishop Nicholas Duncan-Williams and Reverend Eastwood Anaba communicated their decision to resign from the Board of Trustees of the National Cathedral. Now, they asked for an independent audit, that they wanted an independent audit firm to be employed to audit the work and the expenditure so far on the National Cathedral. Since January to date, that demand or that application that they asked for was never fulfilled. And they say that as a matter of conscience and faith, they decided to submit their resignation to the president, but they still believe in the National Cathedral that's project. This is the website of the National Cathedral of Ghana. This is the Board of Trustees that you see there. Apostle Professor Opoko Onyina, the former chair of the Church of Pentecost, the Archbishop Charles Palmer Buckle, Metropolitan Catholic Archbishop Cape Coast, Vice Chair, Most Reverend Bishop Justice Ofea Akrofi, former Anglican Archbishop Emeritus Member, Right Reverend Professor Emmanuel Mate, very, very famous, a former moderator of the Presbyterian Church, is there as well. Now, they are not the only ones. The Archbishop Nicholas Duncan-Williams' picture is still on the page of the National Cathedral. Maybe in the coming days, we'll see whether this picture will be taken down or not after this decision to resign from the Board of Trustees. Most Reverend T.K. Awachiprat is there, former Presiding Bishop of the Methodist Church. Reverend Dr. Joyce Aye, Executive Director, Salt and Light Ministries. And then you have Reverend Eastwood Anaba is still there. And you know, Reverend Victor Kusi Boateng is the man that Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa has been chasing and revealing quite a lot over the period. He's the founder of Power Chapel Worldwide. And then you have Reverend Dr. Frempong Manson, General Superintendent, Assemblies of God, and Kingsley Ofosuntiamwa, Executive Director, Ghana Museums and Monuments Board. They make up the Board of Trustees of the National Cathedral. So these two, Eastwood Anaba and then the Archbishop Nicholas Duncan-Williams, maybe in the coming days we'll see what happens on the website of the National Cathedral. But you recall that Bishop Doug Heward-Mills also resigned from the National Cathedral Board of Trustees. He gave reasons why. Take a look at this. When he communicated his decision, that's Doug Heward-Mills communicated his decision to resign from the Board of Trustees, he said, "I feel that the treatment of the issues I have raised in my several letters has been unfortunate. My letters have been ignored in the past, not attended to for years, and at best addressed flippantly. You may recall I have spoken passionately and written extensively about the cost." Take note of this, about the cost. You recall that the Archbishop Nicholas Duncan-Williams and Reverend Eastwood Anaba also asked that an audit be done to ascertain expenditure on the National Cathedral. That Heward-Mills is asking about what? The cost, the design, the location, the fundraising, the mobilization of the churches, and the role of the trustees. He wanted some clarity on this. He says that these, if heeded, would have made our project more achievable. Generally speaking, my inputs, my opinions, and my letters have been trivialized and set aside. And he continues that this lack of clarity is robbing our vision of the validity it needs. Over and over, I have asked that we address this appropriately and urgently, because there are many dire implications to the trustees and the individuals. The emphasis, the individuals involved in this project. Nelson Roxon Dafiamekpo is Member of Parliament for the South Dai constituency. He is a member of the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament. He's joining us on the telephone. Thank you very much for joining us here, Ghana tonight. First off, the singular, at least, reason given by the Archbishop and Reverend Eastwood Anaba for resigning was that they asked for an audit. It's not coming. So on the basis of conscience, they are off the Board of Trustees of the National Cathedral. How did that strike you as a member of the Public Accounts Committee?
Thank you very much. Good evening to your viewers. Clearly, I like the fact that you said the singular reason underpinning the resignation letter is the fact that their request for audit into the activities of the Secretariat of the National Cathedral had not been done. Indeed, they are not the only trustees who have asked for an audit. Parliament itself has also asked for an audit. Indeed, Parliament, by a private member's motion, put up a committee to look into the activities of the National Cathedral. But let me say that that may be the apparent singular reason. There are more other reasons as a result of which these two distinguished men of God have decided to abandon ship in this matter. It's the embarrassment, the national embarrassment, the religious embarrassment, the fact that people who mount the pulpit and speak about piety, sanctity, chastity of our deeds, truthfulness to God and man, and all that, find themselves embroiled in this embarrassment. They find this a very, very convenient point to disembark and to abandon ship.
But so you see, you say it's a convenient reason for them to have resigned. They ask specific questions about the cost. As far back as January, they wanted an audit to be conducted into the operations of the National Cathedral. These are the Board of Trustees asking for this. And it's also consistent with what the Bishop Duncan-Williams asked earlier about wanting to know the cost of the entire cathedral project that he didn't get. Also one of the reasons why he resigned as well. That's consistent, wouldn't you say? Yes, I agree. So I'm saying that it's a very convenient apparent reason to give. But for me, the more compelling reasons are those of embarrassment and the ignominy that it brings their image as distinguished men of God. So they may not be able to say that openly. But for me, those are more compelling basis for which they are living, because the entire project is fraught with inaccuracies, misleading accounts, a concealment of facts, opaque operations of the executive secretary, and all manner of things. As we speak, nearly 400 million Ghana cedis has been sunk into a project. The effect, the evidence on the ground is an open cast surface. That open cast surface is what you see on the ground. So what did we do with in excess of 400 million Ghana cedis? And we mentioned 400 million. If it is 400 Ghana cedis that you can put in your back pocket and walk about in the streets of Accra, 400 million, it's such a huge, colossal sum of money. I mean, look at what is happening in the Volta region, in my own constituency, in North Town, in Central Town, in South Town, in Keta, in Angloga, in Ketu South. There's water everywhere. People's homes have been submerged. People can't find places to put their head. And we have a bowl in hand asking for relief items for thousands of people in my homeland. But a government decides to spend in excess of 400 million. When you ask for accountability, they can't tell you. And what is more embarrassing is that
the people that the president himself put in charge are asking for accountability, they cannot be given. So who exactly is in charge? Who exactly is spending money on the Cathedral project? When the trustees of the Cathedral are asking that let's go into accounts, and the account cannot give it, then who exactly is spending the money on the project, on the so-called Cathedral project? Because we can't see the evidence of this expenditure. I think that is one point that the men of God are raising. Yes, monies have been spent, fine, but we can't see the evidence of the money so far spent. So let's go into account.
You see, the only figure we have, at least, been given by both the finance minister and a few other persons associated with this project in the public domain is the 339 million cedis. I don't know that it was contained in that document when the finance minister appeared before that committee asking questions about certain monies expended on this project. 339 million. The breakdown, you have a chunk of it going into Ajayi and Associates and the design of the architectural design and so on, right? That's what we do know. So as a member of the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament, considering the fact that the questions about accountability being asked by even the members of the Board of Trustees, it's not being answered. Reason why they're resigning from this project, what are you going to do?
We expect the Auditor General to pursuant to the enactment setting it up in the constitutional provision on the Auditor General to seize its lawful authority and go and audit the accounts of the National Cathedral as a state institution, because it is a foundation set up by an act of Parliament, and submit the accounts to Parliament for our consideration at the Public Accounts Committee. Let me correct you. The foundation set up by incorporation of a company on behalf of the Republic of Ghana.
I see. Now, but beyond that, the questions that are being asked are specific about issues related to how the accountability question will be answered as well. That's the concern of the Ghanaian people. Because you talk about what's happening in the Volta region. And as a member of Parliament for the South Dike constituency, I gather that some part of your constituency has also been affected by this spillage of the Akonsombo Dam, is it not? Hello?
Opportunity to dilate a bit on the matters happening in the Volta region. And I think that even my constituency in South Dike, Ajebwi, Jakiti, Kumbuni, Kope, Jemeni, Atoklopo, Agodake, Chanakbe, Abuitita, all the way to Akpato, Pefetonu. They are submerged. But portions of so many homes are submerged. Farmlands are gone. And it is the case in the entire Volta Lake Basin. And so I think that government should declare a state of emergency so that it can tackle these problems properly. Because when I saw the president and his poster yesterday, I am not convinced that they want to bring some agency to tackling the problems that are presently generated on the ground. We need a certain urgent approach to dealing with the issues at hand. And I want to use your medium to call on the president to declare state of emergency so that the army, the security services can be deployed fully. My brother Okansi, we deployed soldiers from this country to go and undertake humanitarian jobs in other countries. And we pay them. Why haven't we deployed our soldiers to the Volta region to help to solve this crisis by now? Why? We have soldiers, we have Ghanaian soldiers doing peacekeeping work and humanitarian work in Palestine, in Gaza, in Israel, as we speak.
So there's a video.
Why is it that we have crisis at home and we cannot deploy our soldiers, our security men? You recall that when there was a landslide and flooding in Sierra Leone, our vice president donated public money, the equivalent of $1 million to assist them.
Very, very important call there. Nelson Dafiam, that actually.
Now on to some more stories. 2 more members of the Board of Trustees of the National Cathedral, Archbishop Nicholas Duncan-Williams and Reverend Eastwood Anaba, have resigned as members of the board. In a letter addressed to the president and signed by both men of God, they indicated that their resignation is due to the non-compliance of the board to halt all activities relating to the construction of the cathedral until an independent audit is concluded. They noted that in a draft resolution submitted to the board, they asked for an independent accounting firm to audit all public funds contributed to the National Cathedral. Archbishop Duncan-Williams and Reverend Eastwood Anaba said since January 2023, they have been waiting for the audit report, but to no avail. Now, according to them, the suspension would have paved the way for transparency and accountability to be provided to the Ghanaian people. They, however, reassured the government of their support.
PENDREAM TV now, so far so good. Say open online portal e Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.